Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at GrowFolds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Walmart off of Lake Forest Road in McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you hit the like button for this video as it helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself, as well as following me on Instagram at GrowFolds. If you want to get in touch with me directly, you can send me a direct message and see some of my other plant posts on my Instagram. It is a late afternoon day at McKinney, Texas, and I am just going to be going to Walmart. It seems like a lot of the Walmarts in the Dallas-Fort Worth area have been getting some restocks, and so we're going to check out and see if there are some rare and uncommon plants, new plant releases, houseplants for 2025 for this new year. So we're going to definitely check that out. We'll see what we can find at this big box store for sure. But for now, I did want to tell you that I am part of the Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast show with Janae Simone and Stephen of I Live Plants. Definitely subscribe to the Cultivation Corner YouTube channel. We talk about all things related to plants, and it is a fun project, a fun collab that I have with my planty friends. But you can see right here, this is a Walmart that I visited a couple of times last year, where I was able to find a lot of the new trending tropicals by Costa Farms. So we'll see if they have some new releases of Costa Farms plants. I know that the majority of Walmarts that I have visited in the Dallas-Fort Worth area have some new plants, specifically newer and rare and uncommon philodendron, as well as that Monstera Thai Constellation. But before we get into the plants, I did want to just take a little bit of time to show you all of the new planters that Walmart is offering. So there are different types of planters. They have the mainstay lines, which is basically the most cost-effective plants or planters that they have for Walmart, and they also have the Better Homes and Garden planters. You can see right here, these are the resin planters for $3.24, and I really do like these planters because they are basically like a catch pot for any of the exotic angel plants that you buy from Costa Farms. And then you can see right over here, they have a really nice color story. So they've got their white planters. This one right over here has a little monstera leaf. And what's really nice about the planters at Walmart is the majority of them actually have drainage holes. So you have the option of actually planting the plant directly into the planter, or you can use it as a catch pot, and you can just literally put the plant in its nursery pot and stick it into a planter. But you can see there are some white planters here. I prefer the more matte finish white planters. I do think as we do plant shopping videos and look into plants and plant care, I did want to take a little bit more time to show you some of these planters, because I believe that planters will set the tone in terms of your plant styling. And if you've been following my channel, and for those that are new to the channel, by the way, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome, my name is Richie, and I call you guys plant foldies is because originally this plant channel used to be an origami ASMR channel where I was folding a bunch of origami paper cranes. So that is the part of the plant foldies. I will be showing some more origami content as I start to pivot to a little bit more diverse content on my plant shopping YouTube channel. I know that the last video I uploaded was how to convert houseplants into semi-hydro substrates, specifically using leca. I've just found that using semi-hydro substrates make it a lot easier, especially for people like me who don't really have the time to water plants, just because we might have very busy schedules, or more so because we have 100+ plants and it just becomes a little bit overwhelming to spend an entire day just watering plants. So if you haven't checked out that plant content of mine, I do have more plant content that is going to be more centered around like plant chores versus just doing big box or plant shopping videos. I know that the majority of my content will be big box or plant shopping videos, but I did want to diversify some of my plant content, as well as mixing in like plant styling, interior design, all of the works, things that I'm also interested in aside from just shopping, because let's face it, I have spent quite a bit of money on plants, especially the latter part of 2024. I still can't believe that it's literally the first week of the new year, and we're already getting into a lot of new plant restocks. You can see again that Walmart has quite a bit of planters. Now, they had this type of planter last year, and then you can see they've got even the shallow planters. Now, for the shallow planters, I would utilize these planters for more of the crawling philodendron type. So you have some plants that want to crawl up a moss pole, a totem pole, and grow upward. There are some plants that want to just crawl across like the soil substrate in the wild, and particularly the Philodendron gloriosum. Like, I have a Philodendron gloriosum by Proven Winners that I ended up buying at Home Depot that I want to go ahead and repot in this shallow planter, so it has a little bit more room to kind of crawl across the soil substrate. But when you ask me whether Walmart has actually elevated its planters over the years, I would absolutely say yes. I am a fan of the Better Homes and Garden planters that they have. You know, they have many different types of textures and shapes. Like this one right here, I do like the geometric shape about it. The only thing I'm not as big of a fan of, and this is really purely on aesthetics, is I don't really like very shiny glazes on planters. I prefer matte finishes, and more so, I don't really like a lot of texture. I like smooth matte surfaces. But I mean, even this one right here, it's not a bad price. $6.28 for this 4-inch planter. Again, most of the plants that you will end up buying at a big box store or even a local nursery, you can literally just put the nursery pot in these catch pots right here. Like, I love the fact that they have gray resin planters. Now, usually Walmart only had like the white planter, and now they have the gray one as well as the black planter. But as I pan away here, you can see that there is quite a bit of a selection. And I do ask our plant foldies, you know, throughout the video, I'd love for you to leave me some comments about some of the planters you are seeing. And have no fear, I will tell you straight up that there are some really nice, rare, and uncommon philodendron restocks. You will most likely see the Monstera Thai Constellation here. It seems like all the Walmarts in the Dallas-Fort Worth area have restocked their plants, which is super exciting because as I debut this actual video, we are experiencing a snowstorm in the North Dallas area, which is where I'm based at. And let me tell you this, for those that are not used to snow, like people in Dallas, for instance, it is a bit troublesome. So I hope that everybody out in the DFW area is remaining safe. And for those that are actually used to snowy weather, I'm pretty sure this isn't as big of a deal. For us, we're just not really used to that cold weather. But anyways, going back to the plant shopping video right here, you can see that there are many planters. You see how they have their colors kind of mixed with the grays and the black planters. I like the color black, especially when it comes to planters. Like this one right here has a very elegant modern finish about it, and I like the fact that they have a mixture of wood as well as this like gunmetal type glaze. Now, the Better Homes and Garden planters have different types of collections. I haven't really delved into it, but you can see that they have some curated planters. Like, I like this one right here, just the fact that it has a really nice shape. This would be a really good planter for either a hanging type plant or a tall plant. Here you can see that there is an example of a ZZ plant, and when you think about easy to care for plants, ZZ plants are another plant I would say could become a trend, a houseplant trend for 2025. For those that have already watched some of my plant shopping videos for this year, I am on this campaign of making a certain type of plant or a species of plant or a group of plants more trending, because as we get into social media presence, right? As we talk about plants, the reason why plants become a trending plant or an it plant is because there's somebody that's posting on Instagram. There is somebody that is posting YouTube videos about the plant. The plant might be popping up on different types of nurseries and online sellers. And I just feel like the dialogue we have around plants is what really causes the market to become saturated with certain plants being a little bit more popular than others. And for me, 2025, the new year should be all about going back to the basics. I know that there are a lot of plants that are sought after because there's so many new variegated plants. There's so many new hybrids of different types of plants, crosses of different types of plants. But have we ever just, slowed down to think that some of the most amazing plants are like, say, the green plants, the plants that are overlooked, the ones that are still more vigorous, faster growing. I think those are the plants that need to be trending in 2025. I'm pretty sure some of you guys might disagree, but for those that agree with me about just going back to the basics, going back to the original green forms of the plants, leave in the comments if you support that. And if you guys want to continue to talk about basic green plants and making it a trending plant, please support my campaign to just get more dialogue around that plant. And maybe people will be more in tune to buying the easy care green plants. But to go back to all of the planters here, I also love the fact that they have the colors pretty much organized, and you can see even here, look at that texture here. Now that wouldn't be a planter I would put in my plant collection, but there is a lot of personality. I do like the color teals and the light blues. There is a calming effect about it. And then this one is for $22.28, another Better Homes and Garden planter, and this one I actually would buy. I do like the aesthetic behind it. It does have a little bit more pattern than what I'm used to, but it is another planter that I feel like is simple enough. And you can see that this one is a Better Homes and Garden planter from a specific collection, and that would be a really nice planter for something that has like a more silvery foliage, maybe in Aglaonema Silver Bay, for instance. And then you can see right here, this is more of like a jade light green planter. And so for those that are looking at planters, again, leave some comments. Let me know what planters you like that Walmart is offering. And I'm just going to walk around and pick up some planters, show you what Walmart has to offer. And, let me know what you think or what plants you would put in this planter. Like, for instance, this one has a little bit of a leaf shape embellished into the planter. Really nice glaze as well. These planters definitely look more expensive than what they are asking for. And that's the thing about Walmart. Whenever it comes down to Walmart, especially any type of big box store, you're going to get some cost-effective pricing, but I'll go out on a limb and just say that Walmart probably has the most cost-effective pricing out of all the big box stores out there, just because they just really have competitive pricing, and I don't mind that at all. I buy a lot of my supplies from Walmart. When it comes to some of the planters, I would definitely indulge in some of the planters that Walmart has to offer, and obviously the house plants that they have. I mean, it's just exciting that Costa Farms is already starting to release a bunch of the new trending tropical plants, growers bench plants, as well as wild interior plants. Those suppliers are really starting to rev up what we can potentially see in the spring. I cannot wait for what spring has to offer. We already got through most of winter. I'm just super happy that the holidays is over. It was a very busy time for me, very hectic time, very stressful time. I'm just glad that I survived the holidays, and here we are, the first month of the new year, already looking at the new plant restock. And I love the look of checkered pattern planters as well. See, that is something, if I wanted to add a little bit more pattern and texture to my planters, I wouldn't mind buying these at all. And as far as these planters, they do have drainage holes, but you can see that you can even use these as a planter that you can have as a semi-hydro planters, meaning you can actually fill it up with water. Just make sure you seal the drainage hole. There is a little plug into it. I've been very much into converting a lot of my plants from soil substrate into leca. I would really like to put a lot of my plants in lechuza pond, but unfortunately Amazon is still out of stock with lechuza pond. And when I thought about it, lechuza pond is quite expensive when you compare it to leca. I've been sourcing a lot of my leca from IKEA. You can buy a bag for like $9.99, and it's really exciting to be able to take some of the plants that I love, like for instance Aglaonema. Even though Aglaonema are easy to care for plants, whenever you put a plant in a semi-hydro substrate, it just makes it so much easier in terms of the upkeep. It's just the watering portion that really gets to me. And so as far as like things I'm changing over the New Year's, I definitely want to add a lot of my plants into semi-hydro substrates. But as you can see right here, we've got so many different colors. I love the pink planter. This was one that I saw at Walmart last year that I ended up not buying, but this would be a really nice planter to put like a pinkish or reddish Aglaonema, or maybe even a Philodendron pink princess. I love this orange terracotta look planter as well. And so as far as Walmart really stepping its game up, a lot of these planters are very much modern looking and very elegant looking. But as I spin around here, plant foldies, what I really love is the fact that Walmart has more terracotta planter options. So this one right here is a little bit lighter terracotta. This one's for $8.98 or $8.88. That's actually a nice size planter. And this one right here, if you just want a little bit of texture, if you don't want your planter to be as simplistic, like that is another beautiful planter. What I like about terracotta planters is if you are somebody that waters your plants a little bit more frequently, maybe somebody that would be considered an overwaterer, planting your plants in terracotta actually makes the risk of root rot becoming less, because terracotta actually absorbs a lot of the moisture, so your soil substrate will actually dry up a little bit faster. And this is actually a beautiful, elegant, very simple terracotta planter. I really like the shape, and we're going to take a look at some of the saucers here. Let's see if this will work out. So we have one that's a little bit smaller, so that's kind of cute right here. But let's take a look at the more thicker, taller saucer here. We're going to put that here, and I'm going to ask your opinion, plant foldies. Do you think that this one would look better with this planter? Let's take a look. I kind of like this look better right here. There's just a modern elegance about it. You know, sometimes the simplicity of just a terracotta planter is gorgeous. I've seen some plant collections where literally every single plant is in a terracotta planter. At one point, I really wanted to do that, but the thing about it is I don't water my plants nearly as much, and I just feel like I'm asking for more of a disaster. I already keep my plants in full drought throughout the season, so putting them in a terracotta planter would probably not be the best. Although I would say if you're gonna put plants in a terracotta planter, succulents would do amazing in this. I would also say even Aglaonema that can tolerate lower light conditions can go into a terracotta planter. Cacti will also do well with that. Any plant that is a little bit more drought tolerant would do very well in a terracotta planter. I do love the look of it. And you know, as far as like Walmart, again, I didn't see this last year, but it looks like they have really sourced out some different types of shapes of terracotta planter. It's not just this the typical one you would see at a big box store. And you can even see right here, this one's a really nice star shape, really nice planter. And you know, as far as like mixing different shapes and sizes in planters, that's something I want to discuss, especially when I do my houseplant tour. I know, plant foldies, you guys are looking forward to that. I promise you I am working on it. But if you saw the amount of care I put into manicuring my planters and manicuring my plants by giving them nice leaf shine and really trimming the brown edges. I like to really curate a lot of my plants. Now that I've actually been able to like organize my plants, things are not as hectic for me. I feel a sense of calmness, and I'm actually enjoying my plants more so than feeling like I've just hoarded over 100 plants throughout the season. Now, going back to this is interesting that they have terracotta planters in self-watering reservoirs. So this one is new to me. This is an Aquaterra planter. This would be something I wouldn't mind experimenting with. We'll see what that looks like, because what I could do is actually utilize this terracotta planter, maybe use leca as a substrate and use this as a catch pot for my semi-hydro substrates. And the thing about it is, as far as the planters at Walmart, if you look at the range of prices from $4.78 to like $20, it's really not a bad price at all. And this is just the beginning of the season. I mean, we're really into the first week of January. I mean, this is super cute. These little 2-inch starter planters for 88 cents. So like if you have some starters, like, you know, just little 2-inch planters, you can put them in that. And then this is the common, but still elegant terracotta planters. Like I said, again, with terracotta planters, I would just recommend putting plants that are a little bit more drought tolerant. Succulents and cactus definitely do well. Like you can put a desert rose, for instance, in that. And then you can see right here, look at this saucer, really nice looking saucer. So that's a little catch pot right there. And as I peel away, I'm just going to keep showing you some of these planters, and we're going to be getting into the plants in just a second.
You don't want my love, you just want me crying over you.
And we're going to go ahead and start off with some of the large foliage plants. So we've been looking at all of these Philodendron Narrow Escape. It is another one of those serrated philodendron. This is $24.84 by Costa Farms. Now, as far as the care tips for this, you will need to give it a little bit of a moss pole or some type of support. Notice that this one is actually in bloom. This isn't easy to care for philodendron. You do want to just give it bright indirect light. As far as the watering, you want to make sure that the soil dries out completely and just give it a good soak, and that is about it. As far as this plant actually has multiple plants in this planter, and that's the thing, again, plant foldies, is if you are going plant shopping, you want to inspect the planter, because sometimes you'll have multiple plants in one planter, which is going to give you the best pricing as far as getting the best value for the plant. Again, this is one of the serrated type of philodendrons. This is the Philodendron Narrow Escape, and Costa Farms has really been good about getting a bunch of these large foliage plants. So I'm just going to walk around and show you what they have available. It seems like a lot of the Walmarts out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area have really restocked with a lot of the large foliage plants. We have a bunch of Monstera deliciosas. We've got some Dieffenbachia, for instance, yucca plants, Dracaena. Those plants are readily available at a big box store. I mean, as I pan around here, you can see we even have a spathiphyllum or a peace lily, and we've got Monstera deliciosa for $24.84. We also have a Sansevieria on the right, or a snake plant, and some Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf trees as well. So we're going to just walk around here and look at some of these large foliage plants. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've actually bought one from Walmart this season, like this one right here, this Sansevieria is pretty tall, and it is Plants with Benefits by Costa Farms. This is a snake plant. This is actually a Sansevieria trifasciata. Beautiful plant, one of the easiest plants to take care of, and this is one of those plants that is very much low light tolerant and drought tolerant. You actually don't want to water your Sansevieria or snake plant often, because it is very susceptible to root rot. And then obviously we've got the green form, the Monstera deliciosa. I can't pronounce that, but it is one of those plants that I do feel like people have forgotten, or it's not as sought after as it was a couple years back, because there are the more variegated forms. And obviously the fiddle fig leaf tree or the Ficus lyrata, this used to be the it plant about 4 to 5 years ago. Every single home, every single interior design magazine or outlet wanted to feature the Ficus lyrata. I think it's a beautiful plant. I would consider it more of a finicky plant for some people, but for me, I've actually been able to grow this in a lower light condition, and it's done well for me. I ended up finding a 6-inch planter of this particular plant for 99 cents at a grocery store called Sprout. So, it depends on where you go plant shopping. Sometimes you'll get the best value, say at Walmart or a big box store or even a local nursery, but you would be surprised, plant foldies, if you go plant shopping at a grocery store, and you'll be able to find some of these plants to be inexpensive. Now, this one right here is a Thenanthe plant. This is a large one. Actually, I don't really typically see this size. It is in a 10-inch planter for $24.98, again by Costa Farms. So we'll just keep walking around, and I'll keep showing you some of these plants. as plants like this, I really love the look of this Dieffenbachia here. Now, I don't know the Dieffenbachia specific plant ID. It is a beautiful plant because look at how light the foliage is. This is an example of a plant that will really tempt you to purchase it. Even though I know for a fact that at least in my growing conditions at my home, I wouldn't be able to sustainably grow a Dieffenbachia because it does require quite a bit of bright indirect light. It prefers a little bit higher humidity levels, and as well as like watering, it does need more consistent watering. So with all of those three factors, at least for my lifestyle and the plants that I currently have, that Dieffenbachia, as beautiful as it is, it's kind of similar to like a calathea where it has beautiful foliage. It's just a plant that I would just admire at a big box store or a local nursery. I feel like sometimes we're so tempted to buy a plant because it has such beautiful foliage, but we don't realize that just because a plant is beautiful, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right plant for you to put in your plant collection for so many factors, such as like the amount of time you have to care for the plant or even just your growing environment in your home. So I urge a lot of our plant foldies, especially for those that are new to the channel, to really assess your indoor space, the time you have that you can invest in your plants, and even your budget. Because if you buy a plant and say it doesn't do well and it ends up going to plant heaven, you're out of money. And as far as like the new year, I always feel like a lot of us are looking at recalibrating our plant finances as far as how much money we're spending on plants. And I just feel like if you're gonna buy a plant that is gonna end up going to plant heaven because of it being a more challenging plant, I would say refrain from purchasing plants. I'm actually curious to see if anybody has really gone on a plant shopping splurge since the new year has happened. If you have, I don't blame you, because as you can see right here, I've been going to a lot of these big box stores, specifically Walmart, to go shopping for these new plants that are being restocked. But I will tell you, the best times to really find plants at big box stores would be the month of like March, just because for the most part, a lot of the United States has warmer climate at this point, and places like Costa Farms or even these bigger nurseries that provide at big box stores will have more plants readily available. But it's always fun to look at plants, especially at the very beginning of the year. I mean, you can clearly see that Costa Farms just sent this shipper of a plant with all of these different types of exotic angel plants. Now these are all for $5.77, so they're slightly more expensive than say last year where they were $5.48. There is just a slight difference in price, but as you can see, there are many different varieties of exotic angel plants. That's the thing, if you want to start a plant collection, you can always start off with smaller plants. You don't necessarily have to buy a big plant and add it into your space. I would honestly recommend buying a plant that is smaller. These are like perfect size plants. For instance, this Epipremnum aureum pearls and jade. This pothos plant right here is a beautiful variegated pothos plant. It is a moderate grower, but it is a beginner plant. It is a plant that I feel like is also overlooked because it's a pothos plant. But like I said again, it is all about those easy to care for plants. And as far as the plant shopping videos I'm doing, at least earlier this year, I intend to recommend more of the basic or more common plants because they're common for a reason. And the reason why they're common is because they're easily sourced out. Their care is easier in general. And for the most part, the price is right to where you're not spending quite a bit of money for, say, a rare or uncommon philodendron. Mind you, as I go through this Walmart, you will be seeing some more restocks for like rare and uncommon philodendron. I mean, it looks like Growers Bench has pretty much pushed out a lot of Monstera Thai Constellations, which is super exciting. And if you aren't following me on Instagram, my Instagram name is @growfolds. Please add me. I will be posting an Instagram reel where I will have a free plant giveaway. It's going to be for a Monstera Thai Constellation Constellation. It will be my third plant giveaway that I've done on my Instagram account. Just be sure to look out for that reel. Make sure you follow the instructions. And unfortunately, that plant giveaway is only open to residents in the United States. Unfortunately, I'm not able to ship internationally. That just gets a little bit more complicated, even though we do have quite a bit of plant foldies out in Canada and other parts of the world. And I do love my international plant foldies. That's super cool that you guys have invested that much time into watching my plant videos. But going back to the plants again, you can see right here, this is an aluminum plant. Really love this. This is a Pilea plant that I would want to add to my plant collection. I've had this plant before, and really it's not that challenging of a plant to grow. It is a little bit more forgiving in terms of like not always watering it. It will start to droop. This is a plant though that I would say do not allow the soil to dry out completely for long periods of time. Otherwise, it will definitely go to plant heaven. But a lot of these exotic angel plants that Costa Farms produces, these starter plants, again, you can easily go do a plant haul and buy several of these like exotic angel plants. I wouldn't suggest that. I would honestly limit yourself from buying maybe 1 or 2 plants at first, and then just really wait to see if those plants acclimate to your house, and then consider actually buying plants later on. Because the natural inclination for a lot of us plant lovers is we'll buy one plant and then we'll look at another plant, either wanting to buy the same type of species of plant but just a different variety, or just feel like you have to buy so many plants. My tip, and it's something that I need to follow myself, is be content with the plants you have in your plant collection. It is okay to not have nearly as many plants. Honestly, I think that that's the best way to go about growing plants in your home, is to have a more curated, more stylistic approach to growing plants versus having over 100+ plants and pretty much having them cluttered or hoarded. That was the situation I put myself in at the latter part of 2024, where, you know, when you think about it, plant foliage, if you've been watching my video for the past year, I'm literally at a big box store, a local nursery, a grocery store, or some place that carries plants and sells plants, which means I'm always exposed to plants, and the temptation to buy plants was a lot higher than maybe the typical person who collects plants. So yes, I have had to really reassess that. You know, I ended up having a little bit of plant burnout. I didn't really want to share that on YouTube just because, number one, I didn't want to discourage anybody that really was passionate about plants. And then number two, I didn't want to feel like I had to stop producing content for YouTube. I did decide that if I was not able to produce or do a live premiere on a daily basis, that I would be able to just take a break. And I already know that a lot of you loyal plant foldies will be there when I upload a video. Luckily, I've been able to get back into routine to where I've been able to film quite a bit of content. It's just a matter of doing the voiceover and editing the plants. So it's been a great first week for me this new year, and hopefully the momentum continues to happen, because we're looking at all of these gorgeous plants right here. Again, this is a Pearls and Jade Pothos for $5.77 by Costa Farms. One of my favorite pothos. Unfortunately, this pothos is actually not in my plant collection. I would be tempted to buy this plant, but I'm trying not to buy as many plants, at least at the very beginning of the year. I will be going to PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Super excited because I've never been to Florida, the state, and Orlando sounds like a fun place. And PlantCon in general is an amazing plant show with so many different types of vendors, both local and international. So stay tuned for that. That is on, I think, February 22nd. And so if you are a plant foldie that will be attending the PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida, I would love to get to meet you guys. I know that I'm faceless on YouTube, but if you meet me in real life and in person, I probably will talk your ear off. And a lot of you guys may just end up recognizing me, because from what I've gathered from people that have just run into me, even in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, is my voice is pretty distinguishable. So we'll see what that looks like, but I am excited to be going to that show. Now, I'm just going to keep showing you guys all of these plants, these exotic angel plants. Again, All of these plants that I'm picking up are for $5.77. If you made it this far into the video, plant foldies, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. And I would love to get as many comments or insights about the things that you're seeing in my videos, any suggestions for future videos. I know that I ended up doing some plant chore videos. Know that this year you will see a lot of me, a lot of my plant collection in my YouTube channel, because I'm starting to get excited. I'm a little bit more confident about showing you my plants, and I really want to delve into a more of like a plant lifestyle type blog versus just doing big box store plant shopping videos, which is pretty much the majority of my plant content on this channel so far. But anyways, let me just keep showing you these plants, and let me know which ones are your favorites or ones that you would buy in the comment section below. And as you can see from all of the plants that Plant Hall by Costa Farms, as far as exotic angel plants, there are quite a bit to choose from. And I'm hoping, as far as like Costa Farms releasing certain exotic angel plants, I want to see the Epiprimnum aureum Manjula pothos, for instance. And speaking of pothos plants, you can see that they have some more golden pothos right here. This is a hanging basket of golden pothos. And as far as another plant that we just need to get back into the game, this one is for $10.97 by Garden Expert. This is actually sourced out by Costa Farms. This is one of the easiest plants to take care of, very minimal care requirements. You can give it bright indirect light, water when the soil is either completely dry. It is a little bit more drought tolerant, but again, if it's super thirsty, it's going to have the leaves droop. It is a pretty vigorous grower as well, and it has a lot of plant propagation potential, because you can literally take cuttings of this pothos plant right here and produce multiple plants. I love the process of propagating plants, although I would say again, sometimes it's not always necessary to propagate your plants. Sometimes it's just better to keep them nice and full versus just chopping them up. I found that when you propagate your plants unnecessarily, you end up just adding more workload to yourself, because then there's more plants to take care of. If you do intend to propagate plants, you can always just give them as like gifts to other friends. That's what I've been doing with a lot of my plant propagations, because whenever I do chop up a plant, I don't want to just throw away the nodes. I feel like that's a waste of life. So I ended up, propagating them, but you can't keep all of your propagations, or I feel like you can't, because then you're going to end up overwhelming yourself. Now, as far as this pothos, this is definitely my favorite pothos, and I'll go on the record and say that the neon pothos is definitely my favorite pothos. Now, this one is in a 6-inch planter for $15.84. And as far as a plant that I could have multiples of, the neon pothos is definitely one of them. But remember, if you're going to grow a neon type plant, you're going to need to give it quite a bit of bright indirect light for it to really do well. And then Calathea macuyana, this one is for $15.97. Beautiful foliage. I love the fact that Costa Farms has new self-watering planters. This one is a pink one, and I love pink planters in general. I hope that Costa Farms would actually do a self-watering planter where there is no texture and it's just literally a smooth surface. That would be really nice, because like I said before, I love more minimalistic planters versus any textures or really shiny glazes. But as far as the Calathea macuyana, I've had this Calathea before. It's just a plant that I cannot put in my plant collection because I've sent it to Plant Heaven multiple times. Alocasia Silver Dragon for $19.84. This is another trending tropicals Costa Farm plant. And it's interesting because this alocasia used to be very uncommon, even rare, about 5 years ago, where people were spending quite a bit of money. And it's just really nice at the fact that this plant is now more readily available for the general public. And my opinion about plants are, I believe that plants should be accessible to anybody who loves plants. It should not just be the ones that have, the money to spend on some really expensive plants. And that's the reason why I feel like either people that resell plants for a higher value, it just really drives the plant pricing up to unnecessary levels. I mean, I guess I'm giving a little bit more commentary about that. So as far as what I've been thinking is, like, if you think about like some of the expensive plants that are out there, the reason why people will buy plants for that price is because people are willing to spend that money. I am under the notion that, a wish list plant might need to be a wish list plant until the plant's pricing goes to a more acceptable level. And I do believe, that people do need to make money when it comes to selling plants, but at the same time, there is a balance between both, where I'm not going to spend $10,000 on a variegated new philodendron, for instance. I could wait like 3 to 4 years. It might get tissue cultured, or people might over propagate it to where it's just more readily available. I mean, because you can look at this, right? This is a Monstera Thai, for instance. This one is for $19.84. And I remember even this plant about 4 to 5 years years ago was quite expensive, and now you can find this as a Costa Farms trending tropical plant for $19.84. I did want to ask our plant foldies that do plant shopping specifically for Costa Farms plants, if you have a favorite Costa Farms trending tropical plant. Let me know in the comment section below. Now, as far as this Philodendron Pink Princess, what I love about Costa Farms is this is still considered a trending tropicals plant. However, it does not have the trending tropicals plant price. This one is actually $15.97 as compared to the $19.84 we typically see for a trending tropicals Costa Farms plant. Now this one right here, Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, it is another plant that I feel like has been a little bit underrated as of lately. I don't see a lot of people really running out there and getting this plant, but it's probably one of the fastest and easiest plants to grow, and that's a plant I don't personally have in my plant collection. I did get a order from Green Spaces ID, which is an Indonesian plant nursery, and they are going to be shipping me a variegated form of a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. Even if I'm getting the variegated form of the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, I don't mind getting the green form because it's super fast growing. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, Walmart is at it again. Walmart is going to get you to want to go shopping, especially for houseplants, especially for like a trending tropicals golden fluorite by Costa Farms is Aglaonema. This one again is $19.84. And when it comes to Aglaonema, hands down, that is my favorite plant as currently. I would say Syngoniums used to be my favorite plant, but as far as like me collecting plants, the majority of my plant collection now consists of Aglaonema because I just love all the different types of colors. I mean, you can't go wrong with this, and the fact that it's super easy to take care of. These plants can tolerate lower light conditions. These plants are not really susceptible to as many pests, and as far as it being more forgiving, if you don't water it as much, it's still a lot more forgiving versus a plant like a peace lily that's just on the verge of dying if you don't keep the soil moist. But as far as the Aglaonema golden fluorite, it's also known as the Aglaonema golden papaya. The thing about Aglaonema is that there's so many varieties. It could be a different streak, a different variegation, a different color. Just subtle differences will change the plant. And what's exciting about Aglaonema is, especially in the country of Indonesia, they have been producing so many different types of hybrids for Aglaonema. The only drawback I would say about an Aglaonema is it is a very slow growing plant. And as far as that characteristic, that's one characteristic I want to see in a plant that I'm growing in my plant collection, is one that will produce new leaves very quickly, because there's something like very satisfying, something super exciting whenever you see a new leaf that's unfurling. Aglaonema Red Siam, $15.97, and I love the self-watering planter in pink by Costa Farms. It matches the pink stems. And as far as this plant, if you really want to produce more of the reddish or pinkish tone on it, you want to give it more bright indirect light, this is probably the most common Aglaonema you will find at a big box store, as well as the Aglaonema Silver Bay. It is one of my favorites. I have multiples of this, and if you call yourself a plant foldie, please consider getting yourself an Aglaonema. It is an easy to care for plant. It is a plant I will talk about in every single plant shopping video I do, and even when I start to show my personal plant collection, I will talk about Aglaonemas. I'm just really curious why a lot of people don't have Aglaonemas in their plant collection. Like, it is inexpensive, it is cost effective, it is easy to care for. There's so many different varieties, and I mean, what's not to like about an Aglaonema Red Siam? I get it, some people are more so into like the Philodendrons or other aeroids, but I say give it a try, and you will see why I love Aglaonema. Ficus elastica ruby. So here is another trending tropicals plant by Costa Farms. These are for $15.97 in self-watering planters. You can see that this is a new self-watering planter here. Ficus elastica ruby, you'd need to give it quite a bit of bright indirect light. Some people will grow these outdoors. I've grown them outdoors when it's warmer weather. They will end up actually growing a lot faster outdoors. And if you acclimate them to the point where you can put them in full direct sun, they may even do better for you and give you better coloration, because these plants in a Southeast Asian country, for instance, like Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, these are actual plants that can go into grow into full-blown trees that are like 25 to 30 feet in height. And then over here again, we have another Calathea makoyana. So plant foldies, I'm just going to keep showing you this restock. You can see that this Walmart was just recently restocked. Some of the plants are still in their wrapper, which I don't mind because it's just trying to keep the plants protected. And like this Alocasia silver dragon, you would think that this is actually a sport variegated one, but I just feel like there might just be some leaf damage for this. Still, it is a gorgeous plant. As far as Alocasia, care tips again would be make sure you provide it with quite a bit of humidity, water consistently, as in let the soil dry out completely, but as soon as it dries out, water it and make sure that you keep on top of the watering. Otherwise that plant will decline in health, and it could be a little bit more prone to spider mites when the health isn't quite there. And you can see right here Monstera adansonii. We have some global green pothos. That's another favorite of mine here. This used to be a very uncommon rare plant, but now that Costa Farms has been able to mass produce it, $19.84, it's not a bad plant at all, and it's actually a fairly fast growing plant. The only thing is, for you to get that green on green variegation, I've said this in all of my videos featuring the global green pothos, you need to make sure that you're providing it with quite a bit of bright indirect light for it to do well. And then we have some more Philodendron Pink Princess right here, and I'm just going to keep showing you some plants right over here. Let me know in the comment section which plants you would buy if you're seeing the same type of plant restocks at your big box store like Walmart. These are the Growers Bench Philodendron Pink Princess, and this one is absolutely stunning. At least that leaf, that's almost all pink, and you can see that every single leaf has some pink variegation. So if I were to buy a Growers Bench Philodendron Pink Princess, this would be hands down the one I would choose, because Philodendron Pink Princess, it's not the amount of light that you give it that will actually influence the pink variegation. It's literally the plant's initial genetics. Obviously these plants are tissue cultured plants, and so they might come from the same stock, but what's interesting is some Philodendron Pink Princess are not nearly as variegated as others. So this one right here would be a prime candidate for me to buy. This one is for $19.97, and that would be one that I wouldn't mind having multiples of. I have multiple Philodendron Pink Princess, and I'm happy with them because they're fairly easy to grow and they're pretty fast growers as well. Alocasia Milo Light, I have that already in a semi-hydro substrate called Lechuza Pond. And you know, this Alocasia Aglaonema, I am actually tempted to purchase it. It looks very much so like the Alocasia cuprea. Now these again are fancy Alocasia for $19.97 by Growers Bench. I am kind of refraining from buying the Alocasia Aglaonema just because I don't have the specific substrate I want to grow it. I find that growing Alocasia in Lechuza Pond makes it so much easier to take care of. And then this is a Philodendron Campii, and this is one that is a prime example of a green plant, but look at how beautiful the plant is. Look at how long and narrow the leaves are. Look at the texture of the leaves, and this is just a green philodendron. Now this is another one that I am tempted to buy for $19.97, but I just feel like this plant will actually get restocked later on into the season. Needless to say, I can still admire how beautiful it is. It is such a gorgeous philodendron, and this one is actually a pretty fast one as well. I remember seeing the Philodendron Campii last year, and it's nice that Growers Bench has actually produced quite a bit to start out the year with all of these new philodendron that you can find at Walmart. So we're just going to keep looking at that. And then obviously this ficus ginseng plant, so it's being grown as like a bonsai type plant. Like I said again, ficus plants need bright indirect light. You need to stay on top of the watering, and if you are able to do that, you'll be able to grow a ficus pretty successfully in your houseplant collection. So we're just going to keep looking at some of the philodendron that we have here, and then we're going to just spin around and take a look at a philodendron silver sword. Beautiful plant. I ended up losing my philodendron silver sword to the cold weather, so I need to go ahead and try to source out a philodendron silver sword. It is a beautiful plant. I love the color. And then we also have more Alocasia silver dragon. It's just a beautiful plant. I just feel like the veining looks like somebody took some dark gray spray paint and spray painted the veins. It's got a nice gradation to it. And again, that is for $19.84 by Costa Farms, trending tropical plants. Another philodendron that I'm super excited to see is a Philodendron Paraiso Verde by Growers Bench. I ended up buying one of these as well just because I wanted a bigger Philodendron Paraiso Verde. Just remember that the actual variegation is impacted by the climate, like the heat it gets versus the light. So that's an interesting tidbit about the Philodendron Paraiso Verde. The Alocasia Aslanii, beautiful one. This would be the one I would buy if I were to buy an Alocasia today, but I'm going to refrain from purchasing that just because I am watching my plant budget. You know, the best way to save money on plants is just not to buy any unnecessary plants, ones that you can just at least hold off on, but it does have beautiful dark foliage. I just find dark foliage plants to be very elegant. And then you can see right here, like I said again, plant foldies, Monstera Thai Constellation at Walmart. Monstera Thai Constellation is available at big box stores. Monstera Thai Constellation for a very inexpensive plant price, $29.97 in a 5-inch planter. I am doing a plant giveaway, so if you are interested in getting a free Monstera Thai Constellation, definitely follow my Instagram account at Growfolds and look for the Instagram reel that shows the explanation of the rules to get a free Monstera Thai Constellation from a big box store like Walmart. But yeah, $29.97 by Growers Bench. It's really nice to see Monstera Thai Constellations. I have several Monstera Thai Constellations in my home. It's because they are really easy to take care of. The only thing I would say as far as the care tips, especially for a Monstera Thai Constellation like this size, is do not overwater them. Make sure that they have really good drainage. Make sure they're in a substrate that doesn't stay wet for too long, because root rot is real. Root rot is super real when it comes to a Monstera Thai Constellation. For some reason, they're just a little bit more susceptible to that. But it is exciting to see Monstera Thai Constellations available at Walmart. You know, last year they were not nearly as readily available, so it looks like Growers Bench might just have a huge crop of them, and it's really nice to see that some of them have multiple plants in one. So as far as like purchasing a Monstera Thai Constellation, I ended up buying 2 from my personal collection, and then I'm gonna end up giving one out for free to a Lucky Plant Foldy viewer subscriber. So if you want a free Monstera Thai Constellation from a big box store, definitely keep watching my plant shopping videos. Get excited to go shopping for plants, as well as following me on Instagram at Growfolds. And you can see that Monstera Thai Constellations come in many different varieties of variegation in terms of the level of variegation. I've seen some Monstera Thai Constellation not be nearly as variegated, while others have a lot more variegation or speckling. Others have more like sectoral variegation. I would say be as selective with a Monstera Thai Constellation, especially if you're shopping at Walmart for one, because they're going to have many varieties that you can pick from. I would look for one that has a good variegation like this. It's really nice, even variegation. it's enough to where you got some sectoral variegation, so you already know that that potential Monstera Thai Constellation will give you that variegation. And it's just really exciting to see that Monstera Thai Constellation, this is not an uncommon or rare plant anymore. I wouldn't really consider that because it is in a big box store. And when you really think about 5 years ago, how this plant was really highly sought after, but it wasn't something that was just readily available for the general public. Now you can go to Walmart, go shopping at Walmart for $27.97. You'll be able to find a Monstera Thai Constellation, and you can see I'm just going through all of the different types of Monstera Thai Constellation. This one is another prime candidate I would purchase. You can see that the leaves are starting to fenestrate, and the thing about Monstera Thai Constellation is, yes, this plant is small right now, but give it about a year or two and this plant can get very large. So you're going to have to plan space for it to really grow into your home. A lot of people don't realize that monsteras can get very large. They can get up to like 5 to 7 feet tall, even larger than that, just depending on the space and the care that you give your Monstera Thai Constellation. Like I said, again, in terms of the watering for a Monstera Thai Constellation, you want to make sure that the soil dries out completely because it is very susceptible to root rot. You'll start to see that the Monstera is actually getting root rot when you start to see browning and browning of the leaves, especially the tips and the edges of a Monstera Thai Constellation. That's pretty much a telltale sign that Monstera Thai Constellation is having some root rot. Another plant pest that is very susceptible, or actually Monstera Thai Constellations are very susceptible to thrifts. So when you start to see some yellowing undersides of the leaves, you might really want to make sure that you're spraying your Monstera Thai Constellation with pest control plant preventative spray like neem oil spray, or you can use insecticidal soap. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I am just going to be showing you some of the other plants that they have available. You can see we've got bromeliads as well as blooming anthuriums. Really nice pop of color. So if you want something that's blooming in your indoor space, you can get a bromeliad by Growers Bench for $14.97, or I would suggest getting some of those blooming anthuriums as well. Very easy to care for plants, and even though that blooming anthurium isn't necessarily the anthurium as far as all of the other anthuriums we're seeing in the market, it's still a very simple and easy to care for plant. And like I said throughout the video, sometimes the basic plants, the overlooked or underrated plants are the best plants to put in your plant collection because they're cost effective and they're easy to take care of, and they're readily available at a big box store like Walmart. And you can see plant foldies that this Walmart has quite a bit of a restock. We can see that I'm struggling to get this paper off, or this little plastic wrap off, but this looks like a Philodendron golden crocodile. It does look like it's gotten some damage though, so that's pretty unfortunate. Sometimes, you know, these plants don't always ship well from the actual nursery into a big box store, and that really just has to do with not the nursery, but just the transportation. I mean, you can see right here, this is a Philodendron white knight and has some cosmetic damage, and that's the unfortunate thing about these plants that make it into big box store. Sometimes just the care that's given to them is not always optimal as compared to a local nursery. And so I always say, if you find a plant that looks pretty healthy, especially when a big box store like Walmart restocks them, I would buy the plant as soon as they hit the shelves versus waiting to buy the plant if it stays at the big box store a little bit longer, because sometimes they don't get watered, sometimes they're picked picked over. Sometimes they get a little bit more susceptible to plant pests, and there's just a whole range of things that could go wrong for the house plant that you might want to buy. Now, like this one right here, if the top leaf has a little bit of a rip, but it's got some beautiful sectoral variegation for this philodendron white knight, that would be another plant that I would add to my collection. I do have a philodendron white princess that has done very well for me. I've been growing it for about a year, and it's about 3 feet tall. And then you can see right here, that is a begonia maculata for $19.84. But as far as all of the plants at this location, I would say this Walmart does look like it's been restocked. It definitely has that Monstera Thai Constellation. And if you are looking for a Monstera Thai Constellation in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, at least definitely visit your Walmart. Let me know in the comment section if you're finding them outside of just the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you're in another state, if your Walmarts are actually starting to restock their plants. I would say that the Dallas-Fort Worth area typically gets a lot of the plants early, and it's just exciting to see that Monstera Thai Constellations are even more readily available. So we'll see what that looks like. I do pose the question as to why the Monstera albo hasn't really become as readily available as much as a Monstera Thai Constellation. If anybody has any insights on that, please leave that in the comments. As always, if you have enjoyed this plant shopping video and going shopping with me, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel, Grow Folds. This is Richie. I will see you with a brand new video tomorrow. Bye.